Profit and loss statement will have income and expense items, items as in transaction. In accounting world, we generally call these as items. So it is an income item or an expense item. But these are basically transactions, which is for this current fiscal year, April 2022 to March 2023. So any income or expense that you incur between this period or earn between this period will go into profit and loss statement. If there are any advances that you receive, say for you receive for April 2023, is not for this current period. वो इस साल का नहीं है, that does not belong to this year, and the year is defined as April to March, April of this year to March of next year. So it does not belong to this year. So it will flow into, where will this advances, because it becomes of the next year, something where the benefit will be derived in the next year, in the coming years, becomes of capital nature, and it will go to the balance sheet as a liability. So the point that I'm trying to prove is that between profit and loss statement and a balance sheet, if you have to understand, this has all the income and expense that will be incurred between April 2022 and March 2023. Anything, any transaction where the benefits will be derived for a longer period of time, and those would be largely called asset and liability. These are of capital nature. This will go to the balance sheet. Okay. So now I am tweaking your concept and coming to a conclusion, or to my concluding statement, that if you have any asset or any liability, it will go to the balance sheet. Now I am again tweaking my statement further. The asset could be for the current year. You'll use it, consume it within this period, or it could be a long-term asset. It could be a liability which you have to clear between April 2022 and March 2023. This is so for the current year also, it will reflect in the balance sheet. It's a liability, and you will have a liability which is a long term, which you have to pay not in this year but in the next year. So there are two things that I want to talk about now, having spoken about it. So balance sheet will have assets value there, the value of liability there, and the third point I was speaking, which I was speaking previously, is any income or expenditure of capital nature, not of revenue nature. So any income that you have earned for, say, April 2023. Now April 2023 does not belong to this current fiscal year. It will go to balance sheet. Any expenditure, that any expense that you've paid in advance for, say, April 2023, it does not belong to this period. The current period is April 2022 to March 2023. If it does not belong to this, it is a transaction of a capital nature. The benefit of it will come post 1 year, which is post March 2023. So it will go to balance sheet. So balance sheet, which I'm just going to click now, has a couple of items here. One is assets and liabilities, as you can see. So it has got liabilities here, it has got assets, and any transaction which is of capital nature, whereas profit and loss statement will capture, what does it capture? It capture transactions of revenue or operating nature. That means those expenses or those income, those belong to this period, which is our fiscal period. ठीक है, so you can stop here. Okay.